make her work for your attention, okay? Never, ever make it easy for your targets. You always, always want to make her work for your attention. You want to make her work for you and never, ever make it easy for her, okay? And this is a big, big mistake that I've seen too many guys out there make, is they never, ever make the girl work for them. And what happens when you don't make the girl work for you? She doesn't value you, right? When you don't make the girl work for you, she is not going to value you, meaning she's not going to invest in you, and she's not going to want to have sex with you, okay? So you always, always, with every single girl you approach, you've got to make her work for you. You've got to make her value you, and once you make her value you, she will start investing in you, okay? And I don't care if it's you who's going to be initially doing the approach, okay? Because obviously you are. In order to even, start your conversation with her, you are going to do the initial approach and you're going to start the initial conversation with her. But even though it's you doing that and it's you initiating it, it doesn't mean that you cannot make her work for you, okay? So every time I approach a girl, even though it's me approaching her and it's me starting the conversation with her, I am very quick to turn the tables on her and start making her work for me, okay? I want to start making my targets work for me. Why? So that she values me, okay? Because she is not going to invest in me, want to date me, want to have sex with me unless she values me, unless she starts investing in me. And the way that I get her to invest in me and start valuing me is by making her work for me, by making her work for my attention. So when I walk up to a girl and I approach her and I go, I say, what's your name? She'll be like, Jennifer, what's yours? Right away, instead of just being like, oh, my name's Matt, I'll say, guess. And she'll probably guess wrong. And then after she guesses wrong a few times, I'll say, here, I'm gonna give you a hint. I'm gonna give you my first initial, it's M. And then she'll be like, Mark, Mike, and then she'll make a few more guesses. And I'll be like, no, you're close. You're close, you're almost there, but you're still wrong. And I'll make her guess a few times until she gets it right. Okay, so even by simply doing a name exchange, you can make her work for it. Again, just for me personally, what I like to do, because my name's Matt, I'll say, she'll be like, oh, my name's Jennifer, what's yours? And I'll be like, guess. And then she'll be like, I don't know. No, just take a guess. You want to encourage her to work, all right? So you want to encourage her to take a guess. And then she'll be like, Rick? Like, no, you're so off. Guess again. And she'll be like, John? Like, nope, so off. And at that point, I'll generally say, here, I'll give you a hint. It starts with an M. My name starts with an M. Take a guess. And then she'll be like, Mike, Mark, and then finally she'll actually get it right, because there's not too many names that start with M and my name's pretty common. So eventually she'll get it right. She'll be like, Matt? And I'm like, yes, you did it, And when the girl's like, oh my gosh, I got it. Even then you're almost kind of rewarding her, and she's feeling that adrenaline rush of getting your name right. So even by just making her work to get your name, you're making her work for you, and you're making her value you, and you're making her invest in you just by doing a name exchange and making her guess. Do you see what I mean? So you want to make her work for every little inch. And as you're continuing your conversation together, you can continue making her work for you. Like if she asks, what do you do for a living? Again, you can say guess. And she'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Are you an electrician? Like, nope, guess again. Be like, are you a lawyer? Like, no, guess again. And then just keep making her guess. And you can even joke with her and be like, all right, I work at Taco Bell. I'm the guy who puts the sour cream in the tacos. And she'll be like, no, you don't. Where do you really work? And then, after a few tries, after a few attempts on her part, if you could see her getting irritated a little bit, you could just go ahead and tell her. So you kind of want to find that fine balance of making her work for it, but at the same time, not aggravating her and pissing her off, okay? But you want to make her work for you as much as possible, because that's how you get girls to invest in you. So throughout your conversation together, you just want to use simple things like if she asks you a question, you just want to stand back and say, guess. If she asks you, where do you live? You could be like, I live in California. And she's like, well, duh, where in California? Or whatever state you're in. Just make her work for it. Don't just give her the answers right away like a chump, because that's what most chumps do. If you ever see most chumps in an approach, they'll be like, oh, hi, what's your name? And then the girl will be like, Jenny, what's yours? And he'll be like, my name's Rick. Nice to meet you, Jenny. And then she'll be like, so what do you do? He'll be like, oh, I'm an auto mechanic. He'll just basically tell her everything, and then their conversation goes stale, right? You ever see this? Their conversation goes stale very, very fast. If you ever see a chump in an approach, like a chump goes and approach a girl, he generally blows himself out within 60 seconds. He runs out of things to say. They run out of conversation. The girl gets bored. And then she's like, well, nice to meet you, Rick. Have a nice night. Goodbye. Where he could have easily taken that same girl, made her work for him a bit, got her investing in him, gotten her to value him, and easily gotten that girl outside and to make out with him, or gotten that girl out to leave the venue with him and go on an instant date with him. Just by making the girl work for him just a bit more and not making it so easy for her. And it kills me, just seeing so many guys just make it so easy for the girl, and it's like, dude, why are you making it easy for this young hot girl who's had everything handed to her in her entire life, who's had guys like showering her with attention and gifts? Why would you come along and do exactly what all those other guys are doing? Okay, all those other guys who failed with her and never had sex with her all made the same mistake of not getting her to value them and invest in them, because they never made her work for them. With every single approach you do, I want you to make sure that every single girl you approach out there, you make her work for you, okay? You make her work for every inch of you, because that is the only way you're gonna get a young hot girl to value you and invest in you and actually want to have sex with you. You have to make her work for you. You have to make her value you. And the way that you do that, like I said, just very simply, and I'm giving you a very, very simple version that works like magic that you can use. Like every time, with everything she asks you, whether it's your name, where do you live, what do you do for work, you just want to make her work for it. You just want to sit back. You can simply say, do what I do, just say, guess, and make her guess. Okay, you have to make her guess a few times and get it wrong, and then kind of give her some hints, and kind of leave almost like a little popcorn trail where eventually she's going to get it right. And when she does get it right, she'll be like, oh my gosh, I got it right. And she'll get that adrenaline rush of feeling like she won, right? And you're the prize. So you want to give her that, you want to give her that adrenaline rush as well, of feeling like, wow, she did this with you, and you're almost like a team together, where you're kind of like playing, what's that game where, I don't know if it's Scrabble, or it might be Scrabble, where you're just kind of like guessing, I don't know, but it's a game where you're kind of just trying to guess each other's words or whatnot, but it's almost the same thing, where you're trying to make her invest in you and value you, and the way that you do that is you make her work for you. You make her work for every single inch in your conversation. Whenever she's asking you a question, whenever she asks you anything, I want you to make sure to make her work for it, okay? Don't just tell her. She asks you where you work, don't just tell her. She asks you where you live, don't just tell her. She asks you what your name is, don't just tell her. Make her work for it. Sit back and say guess, make her guess a few times, or give her some broad answer. Like if she asks where you live, for me personally, I live in LA. I'm not gonna say, oh, I live in LA. I'm gonna say, I live in California. What about you? She's like, what? Well, duh, I know we live in California. Where in California? Where? Are you in LA? Are you in Hollywood? Where? And that's when I'll be like, well, guess. Where do I look like I live? And she'll be like, You know, she might say something smart like, Skid Row, or she might be a little facetious, be like, you look like you live in Beverly Hills, you know, and be like, no, I don't. Guess again. And then just make her keep guessing until she gets it right. All right, and obviously there's a fine line too. You don't want to go too far, because I know a lot of newbies who try this. They kind of like, the girl is like asking them where they work. They're constantly like, guess, 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 guess. You know, you could tell the girl's starting to get aggravated and she's starting to get pissed off to the point where she's just going to walk away. So you don't want to get to that point. You want to make her work for it to the point where you're kind of riding that fine line of where she's just like ready to throw up her hands and give up. And then you just want to be like, okay, I live in this area, very close to this place. And then kind of like leave her a little bit more of a bigger hint and a bigger popcorn trail where she'll figure it out, right? And then you could tell her, you could even tease her along the way, like, gosh, do you always give up this easy? You know, come on, you're a smart girl. I know you could figure this out. I know you could get it. Come on, don't you believe in telepathy? Here, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna shoot you the answer from my brain to your brain. And even by doing these little things, right, you're interacting with her on a level that most guys don't, that most guys cannot, because they don't have enough game to do this. They don't have enough game to make the girl work for it. Instead, they're thinking that they could just walk up to this young hot girl who gets hit on by everybody, and they could just walk up to her and be like, hi, my name's Rick. What's yours? Jenny. Nice to meet you, Jenny. Yeah, I'm an auto mechanic. Yeah, I live in, you know, downtown Los Angeles. Yeah, I go to work Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. You know, what do you do? And then by then she's bored because you just told her everything and she didn't have to work for anything. She's bored to death and now she just wants to go, which most of them do. That's why they're just like, okay, well, nice to meet you, goodbye. You know, if you've ever had that happen where you meet a girl and she seems excited and attracted to you at first, like maybe the first, you know, 5 to 10 seconds, she's like, whoa, who is this guy? Wow, you know, and then very quickly you see her lose that attraction for you. And generally it's within 60 seconds, right? You could do a timer and time yourself. Within 60 seconds, she'll generally lose all attraction for you because you're not keeping her interested, because you're not making her work for you, all right? It's a very, very common mistake that I see a lot of guys make, newbies, intermediate, even some advanced guys who get a little sloppy in their game. They'll get a little too overconfident and they forget about the basic fundamentals. You gotta let this girl work for you. You gotta make her work for you, because that's the only way that she's gonna value you, only way she's gonna invest in you, and it's the only way she's not gonna flake on you, right? It's the only way she's not gonna flake on you is if she values you. She's like, man, I had to work for this guy. You know, this guy is not like all the other guys that I meet. I had to work for this guy. He's funny, he's interesting. You know, he could push my emotions around. He could, you know, make me feel happy. He could make me feel sad. He could make me feel all these different emotions, because you're kind of taking her through that roller coaster of emotions while you're in your approach with her, and you're making her guess and you're making her feel like, okay, she guessed wrong. Maybe she's never going to get it right. Then you give her some hints and then she does get it right. So you're making her feel all these different emotions, and you're really having this very, very unusual interaction that she doesn't have with all these other guys who approach her. Okay, so very, very important. You need to make her work for it. Anytime she asks you a question, answer her question with a question. That's something that I do. It's kind of like a rule of thumb. Whenever the girl asks me a question, I do not just answer it. I'm not just like, oh, I do this, because that's what chumps do. Instead, I make her work for it. I answer her question with a question. Okay, and sometimes if I don't feel like saying guess, and she's like, what do you do? I'll say, well, what do you do? You know, and she'll be like, well, where do you live? Where do you live? What kind of car do you drive? What kind of car do you drive? You know, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite movie? What's yours? What kind of music do you like? What kind of music do you like? So you always, always want to make her work for you. Okay, you want to make her work for every inch of your attention. And this is a powerful, powerful technique that 99% of guys out there never do, because they're lazy, because they're uncreative, because they have no game. Lazy and uncreative men never attract beautiful women. All right, some more common questions you'll get out there before I close off this video. Some more common questions you'll get. The girl will generally ask, who are you here with, right? That's a common question a girl asks when you're in a venue. Who are you here with? Where are your friends? And you could say in response, It's a secret. Like, what? Who are you here with? It's a secret. Another common question a girl will ask, how old are you? All right, it's a common question a girl will ask, how old are you? Instead of being like, I'm 24, or I'm 35, or I'm 45. Instead, say, I can tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. Right? The key is you want to play with her. You want to have fun with her. Don't take yourself so seriously. Most of all, don't take her so seriously. Even though she's a young, hot girl, you know, too many guys make that mistake of taking the girl way too seriously. You know, they're like, oh my gosh, this girl's super hot. I've got to sleep with her. I've got to have sex with her. I've got to date her. I've got to do all these things. And then they get attached to that outcome, that agenda, and they're not able to work game. And part of working solid game is just not taking the game so seriously, not taking yourself so seriously, and most of all, not taking the girl so seriously. You want to have fun with her. The game should be fun. That's why it's called the game. Games are meant to be fun, all right? And pickup is no different. It should be the most fun out of all the games out there, right? You should be able to have fun, not like, oh my gosh, you know, rigid and like stressed out, like, what does she think of me? And what if I say this? What will happen? You know, don't stress off of all that. You just have to go with the vibe. You just have to ebb and flow, and you just have to create the vibe, you know, because you're the pickup artist. You're leading this. So again, when she asks, who are you here with? Don't just be like, my friends from work, there they are. No. So even if you are there with your friends from work and there they are, you're not going to say that. You're just going to be like, it's a secret. What? Why is it a secret? Because it's a secret. Who are you here with? Then you can ask her, and she might play with you and be like, oh, well, it's a secret, you know, and that's good. You want her playing back, okay? You want her interacting with you that way, where she invests and she kind of plays back with you, because when she's doing that, she is investing in you subconsciously, and she is valuing you because you're getting her, you know, involved in this conversation with you that, again, is unlike 99.9% of the other conversations that she has with every other chump in the venue who's just gonna be like, hi, my name's Rick, nice to meet you. I'm an auto mechanic, I live in downtown LA, I drive this kind of car, this is my favorite color, this is my favorite movie, this is my favorite music, so what about you? You know, she's just gonna be bored. Like, okay, well, you just told me everything I need to know about you, goodbye, you know? You don't want that, okay? So when she asks you who you're here with, guess, it's a secret. Who are you here with? Answer a question with a question. You just never want to give her the answer directly. She asks another common question, like I said, how old are you? You're not going to be like, I'm 24, I'm 35, I'm 45. No, you're not going to answer any of that. Who is she to ask you these questions? Ask her, how old are you? You know, and if she asks you again, no, tell me, how old are you? I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. Now, how old are you? Old enough to be your dad, little girl. You know, you're just never answering her question directly. And again, you want to ride that fine line to get to the point where maybe she's getting a little upset, she's getting a little frustrated. If it gets to that point, then you could give her, you know, an even bigger hint where you get to be like, okay, I'm between, you know, 35 and 45. Guess. And she'd be like, oh my gosh, 40. Like, oh, there you go. Perfect. You got it right. Yay, high five. I knew you were smarter than you look. You know, and just tease her. Again, you want to have fun with her. It's a game. It's called a game for a reason, because it's meant to be fun, okay? It's not meant to stress you out. The game is not here to stress you out. It's here to make your life more fun and to bring hot girls into your life, but while having fun and not taking the game so serious, all right? So you want to make her work for you at every possible point in your interaction. You want to make her work for you. You want to answer her questions with questions. You want to say things like guess. You want to say things like just throw her questions right back at her. And you never ever want to make it easy for her, okay? It's the biggest keys. You never ever want to make it easy for her. You always want to make her work for you.